Hello, everybody. It's your boy 2K Suave. I am joined with my dog Sammy. You're listening to the Fair Weather Podcast. I'm having my Jordan flu game moment, but I'm going to make it through. Sammy, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Sorry we couldn't get on yesterday. I took my mom out for dinner, took her to Charlie and stuff like that. But
Uzi,
figured I'd make it up and yeah.
you got a steak?
Oh, no, I got lamb. My mom got steak though.
I actually love lamb a lot, by the way.
Me
So
too.
that's actually a very good answer.
I think it's the African. It's the African.
It has to be, bro. It has to be the African. African. All right, man, we got a fun little show for y'all today. Obviously, A Rod not here right now. Uh, he dropped the Joel Embiid Joel Embiid picture in the chat, and so he's his like I don't know if it's ACL or knee or back or finger, whatever.
Or switching
However,
teams.
what I do know is that Mr. Alex Rodriguez can't sit here and defend himself. But if this man was wearing a Philadelphia Eagles beanie yesterday or whatever it was, and guys, I got him. I've been offering him the olive branch for weeks and weeks and months and years, and it looks like he's finally come over to the dark side. He joined me. He joined Death Row Records. We are here. I wouldn't expect Sammy to want to do the same thing. He's got his own thing. Like I just like the Patriots. I would not leave the Patriots, but the Jets. That seems like an easy team to want kind of a band to come to the green, the right type of green. We just gave Saquon some money. We just gave Zach Bond some money. We doing it again, baby.
See, to be fair, I don't really blame him because, he's tried his best, in true fair weather fashion, tried his best to root for this team, even
Yep.
to go as far as say, they're going to win 14 games one year. And he finally just ended up switching sides. So just to be very clear, this is going to probably be the first clip that we post on the Instagram and TikTok.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I want
With
this.
his
I want this
picture
to
and
be all
everything.
over the interwebs. Everybody's got to know that Alex Rodriguez officially, well, unofficially or officially, has switched or declared his allegiance to the Fly Eagles, Fly Philadelphia Eagles. So shout out to A Rod
You know
for
what we
that.
should do? This is probably too much, but we should do like the similar thing where we do like 3 blocks. Just put that picture as the
It
third
just
block.
just him the whole way through. Just he was cheesing too. My boy was cheesing. He was happy to wear that Eagles beanie. I was very impressed. I mean, I'm happy. I don't think I've looked that happy in the Eagles beanie before. You would think he just won the Super Bowl. So shout out to A Rod for that. But we do got some stuff to get to today. Like, let's start with your crazy wacky funny, Sammy. What you got?
Right. My crazy wacky funny. Not really wacky, but something that I heard, and obviously I was listening to Dan Patrick as well, and he was discussing some of the things about the combine and everything that comes with it and a lot of the pressures and all that stuff. But can we just touch on some of the comments that Travis Hunter is and Shador Sanders are making during this tour, this world tour of theirs, man? I mean, he's talking about that he could be one of the best baseball players or something like that. And I'm
No, he
like,
said
dude, are
he
you
said
crazy?
he said playing both sides of the ball in football is harder
Oh,
than
like
playing both sides of the ball in
no,
baseball,
no shot.
which
I'm
is
sorry.
asinine.
No shot. No
Asinine.
shot. Oh yeah, he was comparing himself to Shohei Ohtani. That's what it
Correct.
was. Sorry.
Correct.
No shot. I'm sorry. I respect him and
Yeah.
I think he's a great athlete, but no
Because like
shot.
it's one thing to have the cardio to do defense and offense. That's if you're a professional athlete at the age of 22, 23, your cardio is gonna be crazy. But his cardio is on another level. So I give him credit to be able to play both positions at a high level. But to hit a 95-mile-per-hour baseball, hit
And to
50 home.
throw 98 miles an
Not
hour.
only that, we'll get to the throwing. To be an MVP as it is, just for hitting, and to be a Cy Young capable player as a pitcher, what Shohei Ohtani does is not. I refuse to let anybody compare themselves to Shohei.
And again, there's a reason why we haven't seen somebody like Shohei since Babe Ruth. There's a
100 years
very
ago,
good reason.
I thought Beirut was fake. That's how crazy it is. It's so crazy that the Sandlot, which I watched a couple weeks ago, I mean, they the way they romanticize and talk about Babe Ruth is what I remember is how I'm gonna be able to tell my kids one day, like, yo, this is dude, Shohei Ohtani, brother. I ain't never seen nothing like him before. What about but that was Travis. What about Shador?
I forgot. I gotta look through it again. But there were some comments that Shador was making that I thought was a little crazy. But again, and I think Dan Patrick said it well. And I'm kind of in agreement when I was listening to it. There's a difference between confidence. There's a difference between arrogant, and that's all up to opinion, right? So that's going to be based on what you feel. Sometimes in how I feel about it, right? So not to go off topic too much, but when I look at the Rafael Devers stuff, the more that I think about it, the more that I'm like, in the eyes of the media, if Rafael Devers came out and said, "Oh yeah, he can take third base," I'd be like, "Wow,
Yeah,
like you got no balls, you have no
yeah,
backbone, you're not, you know what I mean? You're not mentally strong."
yeah.
So I guess to the point of, same with Shador, like you kind of want that. You want a little bit of confidence. You want somebody to come in there and think they're the man. Obviously with some limitations, so we'll see going forward. But I think this is a little bit of the pressure tour, right? So as the draft comes up, combine's finishing, and the draft comes, a lot of these guys are going to start getting, magnifying glasses on every single thing that they do. So
Everything. And we'll get into the draft a little bit, the combine in a little bit. I do want to get my crazy wacky funny. Mine is going to focus on combat sports really quickly, both entertainment and real life stuff. So, Tank Davis had a fight over this weekend. Oh, hold up! Do you hear that? I'm sorry. All right. Anyway, combat sports. Tank Davis has had a fight over the weekend against Mr. Roach. I don't know if you were able to watch that boxing fight. Um, it was the final result of it was a draw. It was a lot of conjecture, a lot of talking heads. Feel like that Javante Davis stole that decision. Well, stole it being that it was a draw. Whereas they felt like Roach should have been the one that won the fight. I watched the fight, and my only opinion on that really quickly is that when you want to go beat the guy, you got to beat the man. You have to go beat the man. MMA, boxing, anything. You gotta if you want to dethrone the champ, you want to Buster Douglas the champ. You got to make it to the point where the judges don't even have a chance to even say, well, because like, was it close? It was close. Was there some controversial stuff with Tank taking the knee and them not calling it the knockdown and all that kind of stuff? Yes, all that can be true. But the way this shit works in the fight game, you want to go beat a man, you have to beat the man to make it so convincing that okay, yeah, he deserves it. And there was some good UFC matches that night as well. There was some good undercard boxing fights that night as well. But one thing the WWE will do is put on a show of entertainment. And there's been two times in WWE history where the world stopped because of a decision that was made by up top. Well, more than I'll say, there's been a few. There's been like the Montreal Screwjob and other stuff. But when Hulk Hogan turned heel on WCW and joined NWO, that was one of the most shocking things in wrestling history. Up until John Cena this past weekend, John Cena. If anybody knows anything about John Cena, he's the American hero, hustle, power, respect. The cool guy from West Newbury, Massachusetts, give kids the world, and he's hoorah. Like just a true American hero. And him, Travis Scott, and Dwayne The Rock Johnson went bonkers and went crazy and beat the dog shit out of Cody Rhodes, and nobody saw it coming. I screamed at the TV. They were using language that I haven't heard used in the WWE ever, dropping f bombs and shit like that. It was a wild, wild event. So, and now put all that together, TKO. Uh, you know, if you're familiar with all this stuff in the fight game, they're all basically under one umbrella now. And Dana White now has his own thing in boxing, and there's a lot of shit going on in combat sports right now that you guys need to pay attention to. I can have a whole separate podcast to even talk about this stuff. But just kind of just pay attention to everything that's happening in the WWE ever since they went to Netflix. Boxing, now that Dana White is going to be involved in the boxing side of things. And then the MMA is just, UFC is, to me, it has been in good hands for some time. I think UFC 313 is this weekend coming up as well. I think it's going to do, there's going to be some good fights there as well. So everybody just pay attention to the fight game. But John Cena is now a heel. For anybody that doesn't know what that means, basically, he's basically Superman, and now he just turned on Batman and he's linking up with the Joker, and that's basically what just happened. So I just want to give a shout out to the WWE for putting on a good show, UFC for always putting on a good show, and now we're going to see where all this stuff happens with boxing and everything like that. So long-winded way to say I love combat sports, whether it's blurring the lines of reality and not reality. I just love the whole shit. So
I think there's a parallel too. I think you said it perfectly, and I said it a few weeks ago. Was if you watch combat sports, exactly what you said, where it's if you want to beat the man, you have to prove without a doubt that you are better than this person, right, or than this fighter, one-on-one, right? And I think there's some parallel we see in some of these other sports. You see it in football. Look at the Chiefs, Bills, right?
Yep.
Yes, we can complain about some of the calls and this and that, but at the end of the day, did the Bills show us enough that they're better than the Chiefs? No. So, we have to take that into consideration too. Yeah, it stinks that calls go and this and that, but look at what Philly did. Philly gave people no doubt in their mind that they are better than the Chiefs, and they were not going to stop, right? They said, if you want us to stop scoring, you have to stop us from scoring. And I think we have to start understanding that as sports fans. Like, we can't do this. I used to do it all the time. Sometimes I do it where we blame refs and this and that. It's like, take that shit out of the refs' hands, man. Take it out of the refs' hands.
Take it from me, the Eagles fan that just had to see it 2 years ago, where it was chippy calls here with Bradbury and this, that, and the third. And in my head the whole time, like, oh, we were right there. And I knew going into this Super Bowl, I'm like, look, the only way we win this shit, we cannot give the refs any reason to even feel like they can to go against us. I don't want to have any doubt whatsoever. Like when we beat Tom Brady, that one was too close for my comfort. But I feel like we put it all out there. Like Doug Peterson and Nick Foles said, we're gonna put it all out there. Philly special, going for it on fourth down. Everything they did, they made sure they like, look, we're not gonna leave anything in the holster. So, it all kind of ties in together. Like, we're going to talk about the MVP race in the NBA. We all know Jokic is man. And, we're going to see if SGA is trying to take out the man. You know what I mean? So, we'll get to that. But let's start with some NFL news and everything like that really quickly. Every year, for the last 2 years, one of my favorite people on TV, Rich Eisen, go Blue. He always comes back from the NFL Combine and talks about all the stuff that basically, and you can hear this from all of them, Florio and, Ian Rappaport, they all talk a lot. Speaking of Ian Rappaport, did you hear about that little kerfuffle that happened at Starbucks? It was, he got into a little verbal altercation with, oh my God, the guy who his dad owns Starbucks. He's one of these guys that do Schultz, David Schultz, Adam Schultz, whatever his name is.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, he didn't like the way he reported the Matthew Stafford news, and they got into a little verbal altercation and it almost got to blows. So yeah, even the media people, they fight. But basically, Rich Eisen, he's like, they're all the owners talk, all the GMs talk. Rumors are always being spread, but like it's like chatty catty. Like everybody just loves to chat. So he came back with a few of the hottest rumors and juiciest rumors that he heard while at the NFL Combine. So we'll start with the Cowboys. Now, last year, the Cowboys, the rumor was that they were all in. And what that meant was that they were all in on their team as it was, right? And we saw where that got them last year. This year, the Cowboys are out on all the team free agents that are currently on their team right now, and they are shopping. So the rumor is Jerry Jones is watch the Philadelphia Eagles win the Super Bowl, watch the Commanders go from from trash to glory in just a year, and he's like, all right, we got to do things a little different. If you watch any of the combine, he wasn't dressed up he wasn't suited and booted. He wasn't talking to the media. He looked serious for the first time in since the 90s. So, do you feel that the Cowboys, seeing all the success that the Eagles just had, see the Commanders just had, the Giants were embarrassed. You see that they're going to be one of the people that we talk about as well. Do you think the Cowboys are actually going to be for real this time? And look, we got to go get something.
I think as a Cowboys fan, you have to be happy about that. At least seeing a change, right? Because the definition of insanity is trying the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Yep.
And it seems like the last 3-4 years have been the same formula, right?
Yep.
The same exact formula. They're trying the same exact things, thinking, oh, this is eventually going to work, right? And I think seeing what the Eagles did, obviously someone in your division, seeing how you guys have shifted, how you did things, and you've changed things and adjusted things over the last 3-4 years to finally make it back, on top. I think it forces the Cowboys to have to want to do something, and Jerry Jones to want to do something different. Will they do it? I highly doubt it. I mean, it's just one of those franchises that, I'm not going to say they have bad luck because they have a lot of money. They have a big fan base and all that stuff. Could be worse, right? Could be the Cleveland Browns, could be the Cincinnati Bengals. Those are more cursed franchises, in my opinion. I think the Cowboys are just cursed with this false greatness more than anything. But something has to change. Things aren't working. What's their playoff record? It's not very good. They haven't been to a conference championship in how long? And so
since they last won it, 95, right. 96. That's 30 years of America's team being trash.
Yeah. So I mean, you got to be positive as a fan, but do I think it's going to be successful? No, I don't.
And so far, they've already restructured CeeDee Lamb's deal to free up additional cap space. They're expected to do the same with Dak Prescott. They've already re-signed the defensive tackle. Zach Martin's retired. And now we're seeing I just saw this list of all the all the wide receivers who are asking or who are available. Or I know DK Metcalf was requested for a trade. Davante Adams was released. Tyler Lockett was released. Chris Godwin's available. Stephon Diggs is available. His brother's there. So there's a lot that they could actually do for them to be a little scary for me as an Eagles fan. I think seeing us win 2 Super Bowls in the last 7 years is enough to piss Jerry Jones off, just enough for him to be like, all right, man, Steven, his son, Steven, it's yours.
I mean, there's the other part of it too. Look at what the Commanders are doing.
And then that had to be the biggest slap in the face. They just got Deebo Samuel for a 5th round pick. I said they paid too much, but the Cowboys would kill. They got what's his name from Bingo or whatever for a 3rd round pick. You know what I mean? They would kill to have a Deebo Samuel on the team. And the Commanders was like, yeah, let's go get him. You know what I mean? So I think now it was easy before because, we were going to be up and down. The Giants have been kind of up and down. And the Commanders have been terrible for the longest time. Now they're legitimately the 3rd best team in the NFC East. And now it's like, all right, now we gotta tighten up. Because one of the next room, I'll just get to it now, the Giants have been linked to Matthew Stafford, who obviously stayed with the Rams. We talked about Stafford last week. They've been linked to Aaron Rodgers. They've been linked to a lot. They are serious about getting a quarterback right now. And same thing with the Raiders. When I heard the Raiders were really were all in on Stafford last week. That's one of the rumors. So basically, the Giants and the Raiders were all in on Matthew Stafford last week. And the Giants were basically the closest, they said, money-wise, everything to go get Matthew Stafford. Eventually, Stafford just kind of figured, obviously I'm better off here in LA at my older age with this better team than going to the Giants. But what does that say for the Giants? Because we talk about the Cowboys. What does that say for the Giants after the embarrassment of the Saquon Barkley thing? How do you think? Same thing with them. Actually, I'll give you this question: between the Cowboys and the Giants, who do you think? Who do you have the most faith in to get some shit done ASAP?
Um, I'm going to go based on recency bias, and I'm going to say the Giants. Um, I think the Giants, within the last 20 years at least, 15 years, have proven that they have what it takes to compete to win a title. Obviously, it hasn't happened since Eli left, but I think the Saquon Barkley is a big slap in the face. But I'll give them the positive of they saw a chance that things weren't working in their favor and they had to just back away from it. Granted, it was a bad choice, but at least they were willing to make the decision. They bit the bullet, and yeah, unfortunately, that bullet exploded in their face. But I do think I have a little bit more confidence in the Giants. I know that probably makes me crazy, but with the history of the Cowboys, seeing what they're doing, and to be honest, I think part of it is an issue with Dak Prescott. My issue with Dak Prescott more than anything else, and the fact that the Giants have nobody on the roster and they're looking to find somebody to rebuild that franchise, somebody to be just this new leader, in the locker room, and to start this new transcendence, hopefully, for the Giants. I have a little bit more confidence in the Giants. Whereas if the Cowboys are going to flip everything around but still keep Dak Prescott, I don't think they're really looking at the true root of the problem.
Yeah, and to your credit, and to the Giants' credit as well, they knew they screwed up with Saquon, and they could have been stubborn and be like all in on Daniel Jones. They were willing to be like, you know what? Yeah, we screwed up. For them to have that much self awareness and that much, emotional intelligence to know to just like, all right, we're just gonna wipe our hands clean. We screwed up. We're starting over. That to be, and you think about it. We talked the Cowboys haven't been back to an NFC Championship game since '95. Both the Eagles and the Giants have been to 3 Super Bowls and won 2 since then. I think they lost to Baltimore. Was it Baltimore? In 2000, and then we obviously lost to the Patriots in '04, and then we both beat the Patriots. Blah blah blah. But either way, over the last 20 years, yes, it seems like us and the Giants have a little bit more of a smarter approach to how to build a team. Now with the Giants,
There's no pride. Like there's a
correct.
pride in your team,
Yeah,
but there's no pride in what you're doing, right?
yeah,
You're not going to look at, oh, we did this. It's gonna work. It has to work. You're like,
yeah,
no, we care more about this franchise than this road that we're going on that's not working. So
yeah.
let's swallow that pride a little bit, move back, and then try to go in a different direction. Where
Everyone makes fun of that video of Joe Shine saying, "Oh, looks like blah blah blah." But the thing that people have to take away from that is John Mara straight up looked distraught, like I don't want to lose Saquon Barkley. Like I will cry if he goes to the Eagles. So at least he had enough. You could tell they know they valued him. They just they made a decision financially that look, we work in business and all that kind of stuff. There are some decisions that we make in our careers or work or whatever we do from a day-to-day standpoint. You're like, probably should have did that. The longer you dwell on it though, that's how you get stuck into these and the thing about Jerry Jones, talk about prideful. That dude is the most out of all the owners, he is the most prideful. So he's going to stick by Dak as long as he can. He was willing to stick by Tony Romo as long as he can. He just got gifted Dak to kind of get him off of that. Like he's loyal to a soil, for his players. So
you talk about pride, and not to go off on a tangent too much, but I see a lot of parallel with the Cowboys and the Patriots. Like I see, what Jerry Jones does, and I see how Robert Kraft does things, and it's the same. They're both so stubborn. They don't want to change how they're doing things, and I can see it with the free agency of the Patriots, and it just seems like they're doing the same bull crap that they did before. And granted, there's a lot of things that Bill Belichick has done in the last couple months that has made him look kind of petty more than anything. And I think if
yeah,
he was a little bit more quiet and all this stuff was happening, people would be like, damn, it really wasn't Bill Belichick's fault that they were so cheap. It was Robert Kraft's fault that they were so cheap.
yeah. Now we were just talking a little bit about Shador, and we talked about all that. So for the Giants, right? They're sitting in a you guys were third pick last year, right? So they're sitting in the same spot. I believe they're the third pick right now in the draft. A lot of the draft experts and a lot of the people from the combine are really high on Cam Ward. and not so. Apparently, the love for Shador Sanders is not there. So it looks like Cam Ward is, but they said as great as they're as badly as in love as they are with Cam Ward. They said if Cam Ward got drafted last year, he'd be like the 7th or 8th quarterback taken off the board. So it's not like he's, Jaden Daniels, but he's kind of like the Kenny Pickett of this draft, but a better version of Kenny Pickett. So do you feel like the Giants should, maybe look to trade up to go get Cam? Trade up to like to number one for Tennessee to go get Cam? You think they should just wait at 3 and hope Cam falls to him? Or should they go this veteran route with them showing so much interest in Matthew Stafford and Aaron Rodgers and all that?
Personally, I think they should wait. I think they've already made the mistake before of trying to push too high and get a quarterback and a team in a situation where they're not ready. But there's the other side of the coin. Are they going to be smart about it, right? If you do push to get that 1 or 2 pick and you want to get that quarterback, you can't throw him out there right away. You can't. You have to be patient. You have to make sure you put everything else in place. Granted, they have one of the best wide receivers in the league, right? Having Malik Neighbors is really nice. Any quarterback would love to be in that situation. I know I would. Yeah. But again, don't force it. I think if the Giants were smart, they will still go. They would either work on solidifying the line, right? Because I think they had one of the worst lines in the NFL with the Patriots. I think if they go the quarterback route, which again, it's smart to do. I don't think Cam Ward is that great. I don't think he's a game changer, but if you want to take that risk, do it, but then still have that veteran in the backup. Just like how the Patriots did originally with Jacoby Brissett first, and then, bring Drake May in at the last minute. But if they go all out and then try to push that quarterback right in, then you and I both have our answer that, okay, the Giants are doing the same thing that the Giants do every single year. So.
And which kind of ties into like the next big rumor that came out of the combine, because we saw the Vikings do it. They went and got Sam Darnold, not knowing what they were going to get from Sam Darnold, but they drafted J.J. McCarthy for him to be the guy that's going to take the reins for the future. Now Sam Darnold goes out and has a crazy year last year. He wasn't tagged by the Vikings, but they have basically displayed that we want Sam Darnold for like the next 4 or 5 years. They are looking to sign Sam Darnold to a long-term deal. Sam Darnold is also another option for teams like the Giants, to go after that kind of a veteran. So the Vikings being all in on Sam Darnold, do you think that's the right move for them? And if it doesn't end up with the Vikings, where do you feel like it's a good landing spot for Sam Darnold? Yeah.
I think you guys touched on it last week or the week before, Sam Darnold to potentially, Vegas, to potentially Los Angeles, right? Just kind of fit him in those good scenarios. But the Vikings, we got to give a lot of credit to Kevin O'Connell, right? Dude made this guy look like a genius, or made this guy look incredible. And I think that's going to show with J.J. McCarthy. I think he's going to look just as good on this team. And I think, you're right. The Vikings have this dilemma now because J.J. McCarthy is your supposed quarterback of the future. And he's probably going to be the starter to begin the season if he's healthy. Are you going to pay Sam Darnold that type of money to be a backup? So those are the things that they kind of have to weigh out. So I don't know what the right move would be for the Vikings. If I were them, I might not have gone that route. I won't, just because to take Sam Darnold to keep him. But it depends. What kind of contract can you give him? Are you going to give him $20 million to be a backup?
20. If I'm Sam Darnold's agent, don't you dare start at number 1 and 2.
That's what I mean, though.
We're starting at 4. We're starting at 40.
Well, then he can't be a starter. Then the Vikings have to move on.
But he won 14 games for him last year.
Is it Sam Darnold or is it Kevin O'Connell?
A-Rod was praying for 14 wins with Aaron Rodgers. Sam Darnold came from that same Jets organization, ended up with the Vikings and won the 14 games when nobody expected it. I would be probably head over heels for him too. Let's see what that $40 billion talking about. Because at the end of the day, J.J. McCarthy is coming off of an injury, and it's like if I'm the Vikings, it's like Let's look at our division again, right? We know the Bears are about to probably get better with the situation with Caleb Williams and that coach, Ben Johnson. That's going to probably be a situation. They've gotten two offense. They got Joe Thuney from the Chiefs today. They got another offensive lineman today. And we know Caleb Williams' offensive line situation was horrendous. I think we talked about Kevin O'Connell. Look what Ben Johnson did for Jared Goff. So you got to know the Bears are going to probably be better than last year. The Lions, we will see with them losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn. We'll see how that plays for the Lions next year. But there's still probably a player in the North, and then we know Jordan Love and the Packers. The Packers are always just going to find a way to be there. If I want JJ McCarthy to go against all those guys, or do I want somebody who I know has already done it and stood toe to toe with them? That's the decision, and it becomes like maybe I should just see one more year with Sam Darnold, and while I bring JJ McCarthy up to speed. And if it comes down to it, remember the 49ers drafted Trey Lance, and that man has not seen the field. Cowboys, 49. I don't even know where Trey Lance is anymore. So sometimes you realize the guy like Josh Rosen. like Josh Rosen was an Arizona Cardinal the very next year. Kyler Murray took his job. So I don't think Matt Flynn, that he came to Seattle and we thought, holy shit, it's his job. And then Russell Wilson goes and wins the Super Bowl and gets to another one like within a few years. So it's easy to fall in love with the quarterback, but if somebody's getting you there, I mean, shit, it's like you can't not take advantage of that if you have that, like what was it, bird in their hands or some shit like that. Shit, if it's there, shit, go get it. So, yeah, but I would probably say they should resign Sam Darnold personally. And then I love JJ McCarthy. I just don't think JJ McCarthy is. I don't think he's. I think missing a year of rookie year already. And he was already behind the eight ball as it was. He's going to need a special type of patience, a special type of coach to kind of get him to where he needs to get to. This might not just be the situation right now, but we'll see. And then another quarterback situation, the Colts are looking at Daniel Jones as a viable option as competition for Anthony Richardson. Now, we're talking about fall in love with a quarterback. Anthony Richardson was the combine darling. Everyone loved the combine darling, right? They thought he could be a Cam Newton, and he's really a Scam Newton. And injury concerns is there. Daniel Jones going into a non-pressure situation could bode well for him. Does this say more about Daniel Jones or about Anthony Richardson that the Colts would look at somebody like a Daniel Jones to kind of be that maybe it should be him instead of Anthony Richardson?
I think it says more about Anthony Richardson. I think there were a lot of games last year, and there was one game in particular, against the Patriots, where I got really frustrated because it was a game we could have easily won. That all you have to do is really scheme against his running ability, right? Granted, he had some tremendous throws in that game, throws that he didn't make the rest of the year, but that was because, our defensive scheme was just so awful. So there were receivers open all over the field. And I don't care who you are. If you're in the NFL, you can make open throws, right? Most of the time if a guy's open, you're going to be able to make that throw. But I think it just goes to show that they're looking at alternate options, that they know that there's a problem there, that they either need him to step it up from a perspective of, okay, you got to understand defenses now. You got to read plays a little bit better. This is your third season now in the league. You can't just rely on your feet every single time because teams are just going to stop you, right? And that's what a lot of teams did against him. And that also led to his injuries. It's because he was trying to make plays with his legs. So I think it just goes more to show on Anthony Richardson than it does Daniel Jones. But I still have a soft spot for Daniel Jones. I still think there's something there just because of the touch that he has on the ball. I think there's a confidence issue more so with him than anything else. And I'm hoping that maybe something changes. Will it? Probably not. So.
Right. And then, for me, I never really believed in Anthony Richardson. I watched him play at Florida in person twice against USF. Once, I think both against USF, if I'm not mistaken. But I would see him, and I'm like, yeah, the dude's a beast, an athlete, but like I don't see him being a quarterback. Like it's not like I don't know. There's accuracy issues there. There's decision making issues there, and my thing about people who always want to be Superman. Look, Cam Newton was 6'6", 260 pounds. Like when they lined him up against other people during the combine, they thought he was a defensive tackle. Nobody can be built like Cam Newton and be that good of a quarterback. Josh Allen's not even that big, and I think Josh Allen's bigger than Anthony Richardson. And even Josh Allen's learned I can't be taking all these hits. Anthony Richardson is already just taking way too much. I got to do it myself type of shit, bro. Like, you are not going to last in this NFL playing like that. And I don't see him as somebody who could just like Lamar Jackson will, as great as a runner as he is, that dude will stand in the pocket and just find he will deliver the football. Like you got to be confident enough in your throw game so that your running game can be that much more effective. And I don't think he takes care of his body enough. He's had to sit out plays because he's tired. Like it's just the start of his career is not something that I would want to sell to an investor. Like if I'm trying to sell my team, I'm like, all right, who's your quarterback? Because again, at the end of the day, the quarterback is an extension of the CEO. Basically, it's all right there. If my quarterback is Anthony Richardson and I'm trying to get this to an investor, I'm like, I don't know if I could sell this product. You know what I mean? So Daniel Jones, I'm not too crazy about him either, but at this point, might as well bring in a Daniel Jones who can run the football effectively as well, and see, kind of see what you have there, and how that helps Anthony Richardson. And then finally, last rumor. There's a rumor right here too: Steelers versus Packers in Dublin. I think that'll be a cool game. But the number one rumor that came out, obviously everyone's talking about Myles Garrett. The Cleveland Browns have zero interest in trading for Myles Garrett. Obviously. Now, we've obviously seen teams and players kind of have this stalemate back and forth type of deal. Do you think the Browns, who are sitting at the number 2 position at the NFL draft, they have the number 2 draft pick, they have a player who doesn't want to be there, who's probably the best, second or third best defensive player of the year in the world, depending on where you have them, between him and TJ Watt and all these other guys. But do you think that there's any way possible that Myles Garrett ever wears a Cleveland Brown uniform ever again? Because it's not about the money, they said. He said it's not about the money. I just want to be somewhere I feel like I can win. I have to now. I'm Cleveland. I got the number 2 pick. Can I
I mean,
do
I'm sensing
something?
a theme here with a lot of the things that we're talking about. And it's like, do the Browns keep going down this road, keeping a guy that, has been so key to your success, but has only gotten you so far? And it's not anything against him. It's just kind of the way the roster is constructed, the team is constructed. And if he's only getting you so far, then you have to learn to cut ties and say, this is
Right.
probably better for both parties that we go our separate ways. And so I'll lean towards no, because I think it would be smart, especially with what you're saying. They have the second pick. It's probably best to start from scratch, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you've had to throw Joe Flacco out there, quarterback.
Holy shit.
You've had to throw so many different things out there just to help you compete. And
Yeah.
it's like, there's only so much he can do if the rest of your roster just isn't constructed properly.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm selfishly hoping that he's playing for the Eagles next year. We're putting things into play. Darius Slay not being on the team anymore. Kyrie Irving being the capologist that he is. We're putting things into play to make it happen. Will they pick up the phone? I don't know. But at the end of the day, the way their team is constructed, like we discussed, like nobody's happy there. The shit smells bad. The ownership is not great. The coach has he's won coach of the year twice. So it's not like it's all bad. There's some kind of formula there. It's just you could get a lot of value for a 29-year-old Myles Garrett, and there's no better time than the president. I know the asking price. You should. Even though they know that he wants to leave. If I'm the Browns, I still know. Look, I know he wants to leave, but I'm still gonna ask for a lot. I'll see where the chips may lie, but I have the leverage. You want to win the Super Bowl? I got the guy. Yeah, I got the guy. He may not be able to help us, but I know you need this guy. So yeah, to me the Browns have a lot of leverage right now. Them having the number 2 pick and having a piece like a Myles Garrett, might as well turn this into something else. You know what I mean? And just rip the Band-Aid off, turn the pick. Because at some point, for a team that hasn't been good ever, you know what I mean? Like, you got to do something different. You got to try something. You know what I mean? It's not like you're trading Luka because Luka at least got you to an NBA Finals and it got you to conference finals. You're not trading a Luka. You're trading somebody who's individually great at his position, and that helps you probably win 6 games a year. You need a Patrick Mahomes, who's going to help you win 15 games, and Josh Allen, and Lamar Jackson, and you need something like that. You know what I mean? So to me, they can really get a lot of value for that pick and for that player. I think his playing days it should be done in Cleveland. And now, looking at other just kind of key, have you paid attention to any other key moves that's happened as far as like franchise tags and trades and all that? Trying to see if anything. I know we talked about Deebo Samuel a little bit.
Yeah, the Debo trade. Then there's the T Higgins getting franchised. Then, as you mentioned earlier, DK Metcalf wanting to get traded. Tyler Lockett, which piqued my interest as a Patriots fan. I think he'd be a good veteran receiver to bring in there. Yeah. That's pretty much
over T Higgins. You about to have, because I know you're not too crazy about having T. I know he's obviously franchised, but like they could still trade him.
He's not a 1 in my opinion. I don't think Lockett is a 1, but you're not really going to bring him in as a 1. You're going to bring him in as like a veteran. And that's kind of how I look at it. He could prove me wrong and be a number 1 all he wants, right? Yeah. And then I'll say, okay, fuck, I messed up there. But man, there's a lot of risk there when you have a guy who's had the success he's had with a Joe Burrow, with Jamar Chase on the other side. So, that's my only concern. Definitely, and it depends on what you're going to give for it, right? If you're going to give like a 2nd round pick, 3rd round pick, all right, cool, yeah, that'll be awesome. But anything more than that,
yeah. Looking at some of these big name receivers, Davante Adams. What do you feel about? I mean, he's not old, but
get him the fuck out of here. No, shout out to A-Rod.
I know A-Rod. Listen, A-Rod, I never mind. Davante.
Where I'm not sure. I'm in agreement with A-Rod, so I'm gonna kind of stick up for him here. I think he's gonna follow the coattails of Rodgers. I think both of them, their destinies are bound together.
That's just too much, bro.
I mean, look at the Tom Brady, Gronkowski, Antonio Brown thing.
That's
right.
No. But no, it's not the same. I went from winning Super Bowls in New England to winning Super Bowl in Tampa Bay. We threw well together in Green Bay. We had a cup of tea with the Jets. It's not like they've been doing anything that was successful. Like Aaron Rodgers won a couple of MVPs, and Davante Adams got paid. Like Gronk and Tom Brady won Super Bowls.
But look at the Packers situation, right? You were 1 play away, and I think we were on the show together a few years ago when it happened, and you don't go for it on 4th down, and it wasn't Aaron Rodgers' choice. It was LaFleur's choice to not go on 4th and what, like 4?
It was like 4th and 3 or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I was just watching Enigma, his shit on Netflix, and he was talking about it. He was just like, I just don't understand why you don't go for it. I'm like, bro, I don't understand either. I'll never understand that shit.
We could potentially be talking about a scenario where Rodgers has at least made another Super Bowl, right?
At least made another Super Bowl.
Right.
And that's the thing. He hasn't even made another Super Bowl since 2010. So it's like, I'm Davante Adams going to keep following around this guy who's great player, but is he able to really just like the one thing I learned about Tom Brady when he got to Tampa Bay, like a lot of the shit that I believed about Tom Brady, about him being part of that Patriot way system, culture, blah blah blah. What he did in that 1 year in Tampa Bay changed my whole perspective of him. Like the respect that I gave for him in that 1 year, I was like, all right, you know, he's the greatest because it's more for me. It was more than just winning Super Bowls. And there's certain aspects of a player that I look into when I talk about okay, this guy is different, and the way they spoke about him in Tampa Bay, how he was able to get that team to just like how he's able to get the defense to play better, the offense, the special team, everybody just plays better because he's there. They don't want to let him down. I don't know if Aaron Rodgers commands that same type of like that was the thing. So like Davante, look, great, you're a great player. You can go get he was doing fine with Aiden O'Connell and all the other. It wasn't like he was trash. It was just he was in a trash team. I feel like he shouldn't have to keep following Davante. I mean, Aaron Rodgers everywhere. I mean, who knows if Aaron Rodgers wants to play next year? If he plays for the Giants, stay in New York. Like the media scrutiny doesn't change, the pressure doesn't change, the expectations even go up even higher because now you're in the NFC East where Eagles fans are gonna be talking and Cowboys fans are gonna be talking and New York fans are crazy. Like I don't know. I feel like Davante. I don't know. Go back to the Packers, bro.
I mean, you look at his stats, right? I mean, he had 1,500 yards and 14 touchdowns with Las Vegas. I mean, that's
like, come on, bro.
Pretty impressive. That was he had a career season essentially.
You are good, bro.
with the Las Vegas Raiders. And he's had what? Hold on, let me count this here. I mean, 997, we're going to count that, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's had 7 straight seasons of 1,000 yards, right? And at least 5 touchdowns. He's got player, stuff in the tank. He's he's pretty damn good. And don't get me wrong, I would love him in New England. But I think what A-Rod alluded to was there's this thing about him. He wants to be with specific players. He wants to be with respected players. It just seems that way with him, right?
Because he wants to be a Hall of Famer. That's the number one thing. I want to go down because he's made it